So here we go, entry into the UK if you are a third country national, which all EU citizens currently are. Although we are in the transition period until the end of 2020, which means everything's normal, whatever that means in these days with the virus and everything. So here's the deal. What's going to happen? You have at least 3 routes as a third country national going into the UK to work as an artist. There are other routes, but I'm not going to go into those. They're complicated and totally unnecessary. So I say this as a registered certificate of sponsorship issuer for the last 15 years or so. I'm registered with UK Borders to allow me to do so. I become a work sponsor in my work as an agent or owning 2 agencies. So here's the deal. What do you need to do? The first one I'm going to mention is something called a Tier 5 Creative and Sporting Visa, which allows you to work in the UK for anything up to a year. Usually it's less than that, and you have to prove that you have work in the UK over a period of time, which will need contracts, letters of invitation. You would also need a certificate of sponsorship, which I will come to later. And you would have to pay currently £244 for the visa. And you would probably almost certainly have to pay for a certificate of sponsorship, depending on who you do that through and whether or not your agent or agency has that ability to issue a certificate of sponsorship, or the promoter. Then that's a variable cost, anything from £50 up to hundreds of pounds. You would then apply for the visa and wait for an interview, and also then come into the UK and play for anything up to a year. It is not an easy one to do. It is possible, quite easy in a sense, but it's not something that I would recommend. The reason for that is that the second route is something called a permitted paid engagement visa. This costs £95, does not require a certificate of sponsorship, as it's not under the points-based system, and you are allowed to come and play for up to 1 month in the UK. Yeah, a whole month. You'll need a letter of invitation, a number of other things, but it's a much lower bar to jump. So £95 per person. All of these fees I'm quoting are per person, not per band or artistic company. That's really important to understand. What's the third route? It is just a certificate of sponsorship. Now, certain countries at the moment, as third countries, are allowed to come in on just a certificate of sponsorship. Although the reason many people recommend taking a permitted paid engagement visa and a certificate of sponsorship is that at the borders, you cannot be sure of consistency. That's the reality wherever you are. So sometimes a border official will have a very strong grasp of what is required, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they'll wave through, sometimes they won't. So there are 3 routes at the moment into the UK, even if there's no deal. As a third country national coming from the European Union or any of the European Union states or anywhere else within Europe, even if they're not in the EU, you can come into the UK and work for up to 1 month under a permitted paid engagement visa. There you go. So that's 3 routes. I'm not going to say any more about that for now. So on to the next video.